You guys will have to forgive the hand motion. I'm just the sheer thought of what I just
Just realized.
just kind of noticed when I was looking at the map of Butler Farm Show grounds in Butler, Pennsylvania. This place is a nightmare. I'm just a civilian with Microsoft Paint. I have limited firearms experience and like zero asset protection experience, right? But even I'm sitting here like this is a hotspot infested environment. I'm going to break it down for you. I'll get my own fat head out of the way so we can all take a look at it. But I kind of wanted to show you like my personal feeling. Like I am sick to my stomach just looking at this map. I feel like I'm going to throw up. And I'm sorry if this is like too soon, and this might make some people say the fact that you're even doing this video is enough to make us feel like we're going to throw up. But I wanted to show you like not what the media is showing you for maps. I wanted to show you what Google Maps has listed off as what's in this area. This could be outdated information, but like the buildings, you know, most of those buildings have got to still be there, right? All right, let me get my fat head out of the way so we can do this, get it over with, right? Okay. Yeah, that doesn't matter. All right. So you see here we'll start with these trees, right? You got trees everywhere. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but these clusters, really easy to hide in. Go hunting sometime. You know what? Don't just go hunting. Outside of deer season. Leave your gun at home, but take a camera with you and set up in a cluster of trees like that and see just how well hidden you are from your own camera. I'm not even kidding. Like, even if they're properly groomed, see how easy it is to blend in with those trees. And if they're shrubs or brushes that have thickets and thick underbrush, it's worse, right? That's terrible. And that is the pink lines are the air quoting here safe quote unquote zone for when Trump was speaking. Like, you can't see from anything back here over these buildings to see Trump, right? Assumedly, if you can climb one of these trees with a rifle, like down here or even over here, if they're even tall enough to do that, good luck. And this is not including the way in, which was this Fairground Road. I don't know what route they took, whether they went up Main Street or Concession Road or whatever. I wasn't there, and I have a hard time watching the video footage for this stuff because like a person died, and when you see the stuff on Twitter, it's not censored like it is on YouTube or CNN, and I don't really have the stomach to go over this because someone died. Okay, it's not a good thing to be able to not feel a little bit nauseous for it. I didn't circle these buildings over here, but I probably should have. You got this as a potential like hot spot. You got these parking lots and buildings here, building and parking lot, massive building here. I don't know what kind of store that is, but it's some kind of a store. You have like, these are really high trafficked areas. You have an airport or an airstrip. Yeah, the Butler Farm Show airport area down here, right? And I mean, these are hopefully fenced in fields at the end of the airstrip, right? There could have been any number of what looks like semi-truck trailers here. You have all these other security zone spots, and then you have this water tower over here that I put a little gray X over right here. I don't know what to say. Yes, okay, they ran into him a half an hour before this happened. They had him in, like, line of sight from people over in here for, like, a good solid 2 minutes before the first shot rang off. These other... I keep reaching to touch my screen like a dummy, like I'm talking to someone who's here. This dark purple and this brown line are because I don't know. I think he climbed up the purple route, or he could have gone up the brown route. I don't know. I do not know. The darker of the two blue lines here is his shot, and the lighter grayish blue is the Secret Service shot that totally pancaked him. This little red dot down here is where it was said that there was a second sniper team. I would like to see, like, footage of them being in place there and there. Like, look, we're not going to get the report for this stuff until there's been a thorough investigation, and even then there are people out there that are saying that the report could be suspect because of Merrick Garland being the head of, like the head of the Department of Justice, and he does, and him and Trump do have a beef. Him and the Republican Party have a beef. Don't get that twisted. They do. So it's gonna fall more on his integrity as the head of DOJ to do the right thing, right? And the same thing goes for the FBI agents that are inspecting this stuff. And as you know, the FBI has a beef with Trump too, like as a whole. Almost, because him and Trump, or the FBI and Trump, they just, which again, that is because he likes to run his mouth. And yes, they did do some sketchy stuff to him, and I get it, I do. The thing is that you catch and prosecute the people that do it, and then you drop it, right? But Trump kind of has this fighter mentality, this dog mentality of, I got you, I ain't letting go, right? And we even saw that in and I'm not saying he's a dog, I'm saying that, like, when a dog or a wolf is a good example too, when they get their hands on prey or a threat, they don't let go until it stops moving. This man didn't stop trying to make sure his rally goers were okay, or as okay as he could tell, with his back turned to the stands, and trying to encourage them. He didn't stop doing these things until Secret Service literally put enough weight on and pressure on him and telling him to GTFO. Like, you're in danger. We don't know if this is the only shooter. There's a blind spot. There's a security risk that wasn't covered. And it was this big black circle right here. And this was where this little black dot here is where I'm not going to use his name. There's one thing I don't like doing is using their friggin' name. I don't like giving them their 15 minutes of fame. If you don't already know, go look it up. It's all over the place, right? And I mean, I'm looking at this stuff, and these are metal roofs. These roofs are absolutely metal. You can't see it too well because of the satellite image I used was poorly zoomed in, and I think I might be able to actually
fix it?
Bring in... Yeah, there it is. The actual... where I got this, and they don't even get close enough, but you can tell by some of the seam work here, this was a metal roof. This was also a different type of metal-ish roof, and this was a metal roof too.
It's hollow underneath. Those gaps show that it's hollow.
Actually, honey, these gaps right here, those are not hollow points that could really indicate that the buildings themselves are hollow. These could still have been solid. I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
I wasn't talking about those real gaps. Look at inside that one that the sniper was on. Those look like crates inside of a little
They
storage
very well
shed.
could have been, but this could just be a porch. I don't know. I don't know because I don't have like a 3D image or a street. I mean, I probably could pop up a street view, but we'd be up here looking at slides for days at that point, just looking at all the street view footage.
Good point.
I mean, I can't do that. But it's pretty safe to assume that where you have counter sniper teams, and you had the fan stands between Trump and where these buildings were, you had coverage to make it so people couldn't see into the crowd.
That is true.
Anyway, back to this image where I have this stuff. Like this road here, the Secret Service vehicle was somewhere around like here. He had fan stands all along this here, and there was like a lower level one here that I think, or like a barricade or something along here, but still wasn't enough because he was on that elevated platform, so the sniper could see into him and this crowd. So then the fan stands would have had to have been all along this road, and the Secret Service vehicle was parked on the grass. So yeah, this is all like being watched by the people on the ground over here, and you have Overwatch on this red, and secondary Overwatch over here. And I don't know if I can do the selecty hand thing, but when sniper teams do this, it's usually in not just 180, but there's a little bit of overlap. So this guy, the first guy is looking over here, like this is the first line of the pie shape, and he's looking over here. The sniper who took the shot was the right sniper, and then you got this guy who's overlapping here and looking to where this, this is. And this guy's looking all along where this pink line intercepts, and probably even scanning inside the pink line a little bit to make sure, everything's kosher. And then you got this, if there was a second one, he's scanning the rest between, overlapping the first line. So, like this road here would be about where line 1 would be. This would be roughly where the line that would do his thing. And the other guy is kind of surveilling this to this. This place is a mess. Absolutely a mess. I don't know who planned. Dear Jesus, I hope Trump didn't pick this location himself.
So do I.
Oh, that's not... Oh.
At least I hope Trump would be smart enough not to pick this place himself.
Well, he might not have had a choice, because this probably could have been the safest location to do this, with enough space to meet
all the people that he was
entertaining as part of the rally. Yeah, that might be, that may have been the case, but...
Well, this was in Butler, right? I used to live there. There's a lot of places, actually.
This is the Butler Farm Showgrounds.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with...
I've never been there, but there are a lot of other places that he could have done this. I mean, lived there back in middle school, but there was a lot of big open spaces. I mean,
so
I lived in town, but
right.
like 10 minutes away was open
so
farm field areas.
Here's my thing. And we might, even preliminarily, you can argue about how long it took him to take out the sniper or whatever. I'm looking at this picture and I'm saying, for someone whose big achievement was working as the chief of security for PepsiCo before she got into the Secret Service, this is enough to give me a headache. And I'm playing video games a lot, staring at screens a lot, so I get a lot of radiation to my eyeballs, but just looking at everything on the map, and I do even have the water hazard marked out as that one off. You have the weirdo Rambo style dude, because I don't know what's between the pool of water and where Trump is. It could be a hill. I don't know. I did that as kind of whatever, but this is not official information. I want official information to go with this map, but we don't have it yet because they won't tell us how many state troopers there were, how many locals, if there was a sheriff's department, how many sheriffs there were, like sheriffs and deputies, how many Secret Service agents were there FBI agents, was the National Guard assisting? I mean, was there like a volunteer armed force or something like that there? I doubt it. The Secret Service would never allow that, but...
Which is kind of sad.
Well, no, it's not. It's too big of a security risk. You have unvetted armed men with guns guarding a high-value target. It's just... it's no bueno. And anyone... Most civilians could tell you that. Like, you could pick the most brain-rotted leftist who thinks Trump is Hitler, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Good point.
This is a nightmare. I've actually seen pizzas with less toppings than threat locations on this map. I mean, that doesn't say much to the pizza, but like...
And there could have even been threats in the crowd itself.
Unlikely. They're vetted, scanned, and... well, not vetted, but they're scanned and searched for the metal detector.
Okay, yeah, that
Every
makes sense.
person who comes in. There's a metal fence when this stuff happens that literally leaves enough space where this fairground road is to let the president, or maybe he came off of the side, one of the side roads or something, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a metal gate that is like used as security. They have to set this up like a week or two in advance. This is not some easy thing to set up. And the other thing I want to see, and I know they probably won't do it, but I'd love to see a map similar to this done up by the Secret Service agents that were actually there. And I'm not talking the mouthpiece that sits there and says we did the best we could. I want someone who actually helped put the gate together to go on this map and be like, okay, this is where this gate was. Like, maybe it was along this stretch here, or maybe it was along this whole thing, or maybe it was just along this piece of property here. You know, maybe it was just there. I don't know. Like, I don't know how big of a fence did you guys use, right? Like, I don't know that. I wasn't there at the event, so this is information I don't have. Which is information that really, as a civilian, I wish I did, because this is like, y'all are... I think that Bad Elf Prince from Hellboy 2 probably had a point a little bit. Like, humans expanding off into the woods and stuff. There's too many structures here. There's not enough, like, flat grassland and trees and stuff to see, like, to have straight lines of sight on things. Alright, I was raised a little bit in Bethel, Alaska, so anyone who's lived there knows, like, there are barely any trees. Alright, you look out and you see tundra, sky, and if you're lucky on a really clear day, mountains in the distance, right? The nearest tree is like 10 to 20, maybe even 30 miles out of town. I really don't understand this map very well. Another thing, this isn't a topo map. This is not like... I'm not sitting here with a topographical map. I probably should be too, because like having the elevation of everything here, I love to have the elevation ratings and stuff on this, because like this is just insane. And I will give credit where credit is due. Secret Service, police, all forms of law enforcement, when you guys do protective details, stuff like this must be stressful as hell. You know, I'll give you that. And also, we're talking about a presidential event, so it's just that added layer of stress. But also, when was the last time we actively... That's another question I'd love to ask the Secret Service and get an answer for. I'll never have the cred to do it, but like, how many actual attempts do you guys thwart every time these guys do a rally or stuff like that? And I'm not talking just like attempts, but like how many times do you guys bust out the cuffs and have to haul someone off because like they could be a real viable threat? Like, I kind of want to know that, actually. Because, like, there's also that distinct possibility of, like, shock from disbelief, which, I mean, I would assume that the counter sniper team is, like, supposed to be the best of the best or close to it. So I can't imagine, like, that kind of shock being a problem for, like, 2 straight minutes. But I could imagine that if they are serving, like, scoping out and even eyeballing over here, as this guy, maybe they didn't see him here as he was popping up, and they're surveying here. Because you got to remember, the videos that we have from the ground level down by where Trump is, and they're looking up here. Well, from up there, I wish YouTube would let me use a gun, but, like, if you look closely at the video, you'll see that they have 2 rifles pointed in what looks like the same direction. But if you know how a gun looks from the side, it's kind of hard, unless you're really close to who's doing it, to tell where they're aiming that gun. And it's even harder still when they're on a higher elevation than you. So if they're surveying these trees over here or whatever, and they don't see this bonehead crawling up here, I mean, is it possible that it took them 2 minutes to get back to seeing this over here? I don't know. I don't know the skill level of the agents involved. I don't know nothing. I'm just a civilian here. Like, how much time does it take him to shoulder up the rifle and take the shot, for example? I know how long it takes me. It takes me a good maybe second or 2. But, you know, some people, when they're not paying attention or whatever, or because they're looking somewhere else, they don't see this out of the peripheral vision or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened, man. I mean, what happens when you're popping your head up off your rifle like a gopher and you're scanning the area like you're supposed to be? I assume that's normal procedure to, you know, evaluate where you need to be pointing your rifle because there's a potential threat. And, you know, yeah. But this is just like the general location of where Trump was. This probably isn't exact by any stretch of the imagination. And there's probably a lot of details on this map because it's the Google top-down map. Or, well, the DuckDuck. Yeah, it's the satellite map from a search engine. It's not the actual, like, map, right? Like, it's not this is not the updated map that the Secret Service has. I don't have the fan stands wherever they were. I don't have where all the vehicles were parked. Where was the civilian parking for this? Was it could it have been Evans City Road, Fairground Road? Was it back here in this parking lot over here? Was it White Towns Road, or all the above? Or did they have to park over in these businesses and walk in? Like, I don't know I don't have the answers for these questions. I don't know. I wasn't there, and until we actually get until the Secret Service comes out, or we have or we have a couple whistleblowers, because, you know, whistleblowers can float both ways. You know, you could have a conspiracy theory out there that says, oh, it was all a setup by the CIA and they're turning them the frogs gay or some crap like that, right? But at the end of the day, that whistleblower that could say, yes, there was some hinky crap with the security, but it was because of understaffing, and, you know, and for whatever reason the radio's effed up because of the metal roofs or something, because those stupid UHF radios are garbage. You know, like, pick a thing, right? You have multiple threat locations and angles. You have all kinds of factors to consider. You're in an open field. Is there a fence or a barricade across the road here to prevent someone from pulling a Resident Evil 2 with a tanker truck? I mean, like, the list of possibilities can really go that outlandish, and they need to account for every single one of them. So I'm sitting here scratching my head, like, as a civilian, I don't understand this stuff. I know what I see on the map. I know that, like, just from my hunting knowledge and the stuff that my grandfather, who served in I want to say Vietnam. Um, I could be wrong about that. I have to buff up on my family history, and it's a shame because that particular grandparent is the person that I always looked up to, like throughout my whole life, and I can't talk about her. I'm gonna start crying on top of being nauseous, and then you guys are definitely at a minimum gonna hear me like go barfsville, right? And you don't want that. I don't want that for you guys either. But like, I'm speechless, man. I'm absolutely speechless. This could have been so much worse. What if this wasn't just a person? What if this was a coordinated team? Right? And I'm not trying to get into Conspiracyville here, but like, this location doesn't look good.
I found a better location.
You probably could have found a bunch of better locations, actually.
I found one. This is a big farm field.
Oh, that's the worst location imaginable.
No,
because you've got that farm field, and even if he was in the middle of it, assuming they don't have it planted or whatever, you then have to survey outside of that farm field, and there's like a billion more risks on that field.
True, but right now the only buildings are civilian homes.
That is like 1,000...
Nursing center.
That's 1,000 times worse. That is 1,000 times worse.
The only other place I found that could be better than where he was and easier to... Are you kidding me?
I'm just telling you that like that you're in the neighborhoods, that's not a good place. Actually, in the case of Trump, if there's enough Trump flags flying around in the dooryards, it might have ended up being like the best place to be. Because like, you know, if you have like Trump 2024 or MAGA flags around, you might actually have some good old boys who see that guy trying to climb up on a roof with a gun, or maybe he's stupid enough to try to break into their homes while they're home, you know, enjoying a cold glass of iced tea or whatever, and they hear him try to kick their door in to try to get up on the second floor or whatever, and it's just game over. That would have been like, yeah. But that requires a certain set of circumstances, and there's no way in hell the Secret Service would have been okay with that. Like, no way. No way. I mean, unless I have how the Secret Service works completely wrong and they basically have to go wherever he wants to go, I don't, that's a Dan Bongino question, or, you know, some other Secret Service personnel question that could be asked. Like, if they want to go to the McDonald's that's in the worst part of some really, really bad, like, unfriendly to you neighborhood, right? Like, if you're Trump, they're all voting Biden, or if you're Biden, they're all voting Trump, and they're giving you the stink eye kind of thing, you know? Is there a propensity or the ability for the Secret Service to say, Mr. President, I'm sorry, we're going to have to go to the McDonald's on the other side of town? Or if he says we're going there, do they have to, like... I don't know the answer to that question, and that is definitely a question that I would love to be able to ask someone from the Secret Service, and I would absolutely love to be able to give them a fair shake on some of this stuff and be like, hey, look, man, I wasn't there. I'm just a neutral... Well, I am a pro-Trump guy, but I want their side of the story before I start believing a bunch of conspiracy theories online and jumping to conclusions on my own map, because I don't know. What I do know is that as a civilian, just the stuff that I picked out, you know, based off of my own assumptions, which, by the way, none of this is based in, like, real fact, but, like, just what I can see from the map, like, looking at it and thinking about how much effort and work would have to go into securing this location makes me a little sick. Like, nauseous sick, just thinking about it. Like, where was the fences, the fencing and the gates?
You won't be able to do street view on this, babe.
Yeah, I know.
The street view ends at the very beginning of
Oh, so you
Road.
couldn't even do street view on it because it ends
right at the edge of
Fairground Road. Yep, where Fairground Road turns into basically Main Street is where it ends. Like where this little L-shaped street thing over here. This is, man. Okay, here's the best thing I can do, right? Like, let's put Secret Service in like a treasure hunting kind capacity, right? You got guys walking all over the grass and these parking lots and stuff, and you got the center base where this big green thing is. Yeah, by the way, that was a funny little, not so funny, actually kind of embarrassing detail. This building, this whole complex, somewhere in this complex, was the Secret Service base of operations. He literally walked up on the same business that was they were allowed to use as a operating base. So that's like, this whole situation. I may have came out in the past and said left and right, you know, like, y'all have black eyes, but like, if you're the Secret Service, the fact that the sniper, he's not even worth calling a sniper, he's a coward with a gun, was able to climb up on this roof that you guys were supposed to be. Oh, here we go. And you flip over like Jonathan Joestar's table or something, and then you have what to your eyesight is a million fists coming at your face, because you have everything on Twitter. You have all these conspiracy nut jobs who are going off on this stuff. Sorry for using that term, YouTube, but like, yeah, there's a lot of questions to ask about why it took so long to take the shot, why it took so long to notice him, why there wasn't better communication to let people know that there was a potential threat prowling around the area that was chased by the cops. I mean, sure, those are legitimate, hard, like, straight-up questions that they're gonna have to answer. But, like, on top of that, the guy shot from the building they're based out of? Oh, that's... I know you guys can't see my face because I have OBS and it up, and it's got the thing doing the thing, right? But I'm going to show you what my face looks like right now, because, like... How? I have so many different, like, how questions and WTF things running through my head. I can't even articulate them. It's almost got me comatose. Like, straight up. It's so insane. It's so insane, it's insane of how insane it is. I might be able to actually squeeze myself into a corner and do the thing.
I have a question.
Aha, there we go.
If you pull up your map and follow Whitestown Road, you'll come to the Township Municipal Building, which also has the police department.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they did it at the police department, that building...
Right behind the building is an open field.
Actually, I'd probably argue maybe in front of the building would be better, because you have, you know...
Well, I just meant the open field back there.
Yeah.
Would make it so that anyone coming through these
like,
lines
put up
of
the
trees,
Jumbotron out back with Trump's face or something on it, and have the people there.
People can be back here, and Trump could be out front here.
Yeah, and
you
sandwich.
Got the main roads here, yeah.
Go back up to that. I might pull this up for you guys because my fiance just brought up a decent point. But like, I know that you guys are you're, as a town, you're supposed to remain mostly politically neutral, right? But like, for security reason, why the Butler Town Municipal Building that has the Butler Township Police Department in it, but there's what looks to be a police parking garage in the back. You totally could have had Trump doing a televised event from there and had the screen like doing this pseudo live thing on the other side of the parking garage on like a Jumbotron or something, and you could have had more people, like 4 more of them, and you could have had Secret Service stacked up and whatever. I know that's not how Trump likes to do things, but like, if you're looking for a turtle-esque style defense, that's the best way to go about it, I think.
Not to mention with the
because then you only have
there,
yeah.
You don't have to worry about a sniper coming up because they're
in
there.
The police department. No one's going to be able to do that. But I don't know. I don't know what the rules are for this stuff, babe. And you know, that's another. Like I said, that's another thing. Did Donald Trump choose this position, or was this the Secret Service, or who picked what? You know, we don't actually have the answers to these questions, and we won't. It'll probably be after the election, to be honest, because Like, they probably are going to keep their mouth shut about a lot of this stuff until after the election's picked out.
Which is kind of a shame, because we want answers.
Yeah, like, almost more than I want a voter result, I want an answer as to what happened here. Like, I'm a conservative Christian. I am absolutely voting for Trump. I'm going to say this. If this were Biden in this position, I'd be asking the same question. Because I don't care if they're a former president or current president, this should not happen at all. I don't care if it's Bush, Obama, the Clintons, even though I despise the Clintons, I think they're vile people. I still don't, I still don't, like, wish harm on them. I wish we could have answers about some of the stuff that they were connected to, because, maybe the official story is right, but, like, you never know, right? You can only suspect because the information that you've been given is literally just that, words from someone that you don't know whether you can trust or not, right? But, like, I still wouldn't wish it on them. And I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And you know what? I'm going to say this much, too. The only reason people say this stuff about Hitler is because they don't like him because of the bad stuff that he did, and that is true. Hitler was a monster, but before he was a monster, he was a human being. So is Donald Trump. So is Joseph Biden. So is every leftist moron on Twitter calling Trump Hitler. Alright? There's one word that they constantly leave out of this, and that is they're still human. And you know what? I'm going to say the thing that no one wants to say out loud because of who this is, like Hitler. No one starts out evil. It's a learned behavior, right? Like, so, and there is, like, no evil gene. There is no propensity for blah, blah, blah. There are genetic markers for certain mental disorders, yes, but that does not mean that the person is inherently going to end up evil, right? Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him, he's not necessarily evil. And when he was under the age of 18, I would argue that no one under the age of 18 is inherently evil, just misinformed and misguided. I'd argue that kind of dissipates as you get older from that point, right? And there are obviously exceptions to this rule, but I really don't think Trump's one of them, and I really don't think Biden's one of them. I think that there are individuals that have been either corrupted by their years of dealing with some of the world's worst, and or people with a big ego and a big heart, right? And sometimes the ego overrides that heart. I don't have, when I vote, I don't vote based on their conduct. And I know a lot of people out there like to say, but you need to, because it shows that you're immoral and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there like, dude, you're an idiot who's going to vote yourself out of being able to feed your family based on that logic, right? Like,
Those
you're
are
gonna,
barns.
so they're barns. You're gonna literally vote yourself into a corner with that kind of mindset. Whereas if you go based off of policy, which is what people need to be voting on, what benefits my family for a policy? Well, for me and my family, a strong economy where, I don't have to be taxed as hard. Okay, check. A secure border so I don't have to worry about, my home being squatted in by an illegal, and then when I go to kick them out, some leftist moron in my local government decides to say, well, there's nothing you can do about it, so you're kind of SOL. I mean, yeah, that's a thing. It's happened in the past. So that checks the securing the border mark, The only reason I'm not pro-choice or pro-life is because I am of a different type of opinion that the system that we have right now is just fine. I think it needs to be based off of what state you live in, and that's the way it needs to be left, right? Like, but these are just examples, like the policy.
One of the buildings is, it's a bank.
Yeah. Well, can I finish
Yep.
what I'm doing here, and then we can discuss this off stream a little bit more, because It is good to know that one of those buildings is a bank.
And the other is like a Kubota dealership and a Mazda dealership.
Yeah, so you have a car dealership and a tractor dealership, basically, which
three
also probably doubles up as not really a sporting goods store, but like they sell tractors, so they probably sell other farm supplies and outdoor and hardware equipment. So anyway, back to my topic at hand. I don't wish harm on any of these people, Secret Service or otherwise. I just feel as an American citizen and as someone who has paid taxes in this country, I feel like I deserve at least answers. I know that might be a little bit too presumptuous of me, but like, I'm not in it for the ill will. I'm not in it trying to chase clout here. I'm just saying the stuff that normal common sense people who don't have the fog of straight up political ideology in their brain, I'm saying this as an observer. Like, this doesn't look good. And when you look at everything else, it looks even worse. Like, this is a PR nightmare for the Secret Service that I would not wish upon them or anyone else. And this location, I don't even know, like, I don't even know. I'm as flabbergasted right now as the first time in my life that I was saved from drowning by my cousin. I am that level of flabbergasted, like, or, you know, the time that I drank too much because I used to drink, like, heavy, and I walked in on someone doing something that they really shouldn't have been doing and just went ham on some Everclear, passed out, woke up, and puked into a barrel kind of thing, you know? Like, and I'm still astounded that I'm alive after that. This is the same level of, like, I don't know what to think in this. I know that 2 minutes to respond to a threat was obviously too long, and God rest his soul, the poor bystander that was there, and I hope best wishes for the people in the hospital. I just, unless I don't know. I'm starting to think that probably the only thought in my head, and I know there's going to be a lot of morons, if anyone even sees this video, they're going to sit there and say, like, oh, you're saying the drones could do the job. No. But having at least a drone in the air with thermal capacity or some sort of IR, even if it's not armed with the good old, you know, blaster bits, might be able to help if you have a van and a aerial, like I said, infrared or thermal scouting drone, just to kind of get to the viewing the places that you can't necessarily see, you know, and maybe have some RFID clicker tags on your personnel, so that way when this stuff like has to get investigated or looked over or whatever, you have like, okay, so these are our personnel, this is the video clip, here's what we got, you know. I don't know if that's possible or if that's even something that, like, yeah, because, like, I could be pulling this out of video game delirium, like, the IR clicker tag thing that, like, pulses off some sort of, like, I don't know how the science works on it. I'm not a weapons engineer. I wish I was. If I was, the 30 different, like, really cool-looking power armor designs that I had, I'd probably be working on them in a garage somewhere just to say that they worked, but, like, in Modern Warfare 2, back in the day, back in the good old days, the Xbox 360, Halo 3 and 4 and all this stuff, there was the AC-130 that you could swap into an infrared mode, and there was these little tags that the little click things that used to be, that were shown on the screen that showed you where your friendlies were. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that tech is real. Maybe someone can get down in my comments and be like, hey, yes, it does exist, or no, it doesn't. Maybe someone from the military, right? I'd love to hear that. I mean, unless it's classified. Don't go out on a limb and get in trouble on account of me asking a stupid question, right? But I feel like if the technology is there, shouldn't we be using it, And there again, I don't know how big a drone with IR or thermal capabilities is. Is it the size of my laptop, or is it the size of half of my car? I don't know. I have no idea what I'm even saying at this point. I'm just trying to, offer potential solutions for future prevention of this stuff. I hate to reference the CW show, and I hope they don't get mad at me for doing this, but, even if it's just, Mr. Terrific's little sphere cam things, or whatever you want to call them, even something like that would have been better than nothing, right? I don't know what I don't know. And this goes for you people out there who are going to be all conspiratorial about this stuff. You don't know what you don't know. And I hope the one person who sees this video is actually Merrick Garland himself, and it's not because I'm going to say something bad to him or anything even remotely like that. It's because it's me begging him to get out in front of this stuff. Put your right hand on the Word of God. Raise your left hand and say, I am openly telling you the 100% truth in these reports. The names that are redacted for security purposes, and I cannot unredact them. Literally do that, or something equivalent. I don't know what it takes. I don't know what it takes to convince people that you're telling the truth when you've actually lied to them about stuff before, or refused to be forthcoming with information before. But this is there's a part of me that feels like this is something that's one of those things that's so important that you can't afford to lie about it, right? That's what I feel like, but I'm hoping, it's naivete, but I'm hoping that I'm right, and I'm hoping that you come out and just tell the truth, and don't hide behind a bunch of BS. And look, there's another element to this too. There's some people out there saying that this could have been planned from within inside the government. Okay, far-fetched as that may or may not be, I'm gonna say it. I saw Joe Biden talk. I still don't know how I feel about that. I still don't know how I feel about any of that stuff. But there's just something in this country that doesn't happen, and that is a sitting president literally directly ordering the death of his political opponent. I feel like even the most burnt out brain in the world would know what that would cause, I mean, that's where you get people wearing this over body armor marching in the street, right? That's not good. You don't do that, right? I think this is just a case of some kid just got out of school. Maybe his teacher was a leftist, or maybe whatever. He was bullied and he went lefty nuts, registered as a Republican to vote in a closed primary, which did happen. There were people in Vermont that were registering to vote as Republicans to vote for Nikki Haley. Actually, they didn't even have to register for Republicans. They just voted for Nikki Haley. And I'm sure if you looked at some of the data for the Republican primaries, you'd probably find a little bit more of that than you'd want to admit to. But it does happen, and it is a possibility. You kind of gotta go with what you got. And what we do have is a receipt from a donation that this kid donated to Act Blue, and it's two pieces of conflicting information. But when you stack it up with the fact that his dad's a libertarian and his mom's a Democrat, I'm willing to bet almost 100% that there was no such thing as Fox News being played in that house. I guarantee you it was most likely CNN or ABC or MSNBC or stuff like The Morning Joe. There is no way they're putting on Fox and Friends, alright? Like, this kid probably got brainwashed 6 ways from Sunday by accident. And I'm not trying to defame the family or him, even though I know that he is a scumbag who took a shot and killed a person. But he's dead. He got what was coming to him courtesy of the Secret Service. I'm sorry to the family of this kid that this happened to. But when you draw down on a former president under the Secret Service's protection, I'm sorry, but that's what happens. I really wish it didn't come to that. I really wish someone could have done for this kid what was done for me when I was in middle school. I was contemplating some very dark things because of what was going on. There was a girl from the high school, because our middle school and high school in Valdez was two buildings, but were joined by a roof over the sidewalk. It's after school. She walks up behind me, she puts her hand on me, and she says, "Hey man, are you okay? Do you need help?" Like, some people need that. This goes back to what I was saying in the other video. Check on your neighbor, check on your loved ones, talk to them. We're not in the easiest time in American history, but we're also not in such a bad time that we can't be good to each other, whether you're on the left or you're on the right. And, you know, this should have never happened in America. We are one of the best countries in the world, statistically speaking. We have some of the best living conditions worldwide.
What happened to just being American?
Exactly. Or better yet, whatever happened to just being a fucking human being?
Well, that's true too.
Like,
I mean,
there's got to be.
People used to think that America was so great because all Americans pitched in to help each other if they were of the same working class.
Thank you.
But
and
now,
it was never something that they were forced to do. It was something that some sort of American, what do they call it? American exceptionalism almost required them. It was like the Knights of the Round Table and honor and shit.
Yeah.
Level of, like, dignity.
I mean, even the rich back in the day would sometimes help the poor if they had a chance.
Well, we still have that today, but it's not like it was back then.
No.
Nowadays,
the rich feel like they're
No. It's even worse. Nowadays, the only time a rich person does it if there's a freaking camera around.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're like a really stand-up guy, you're going at it for clout, right? But like,
and that's even true for the normal everyday Joe.
I don't know. I feel like, I know we've had assassinations in this country in the past and attempts in the past. A majority of those were Republicans, and the only exception to that being half of Reagan and like the entirety of JFK, which was tragically cut short, and I really wish it wasn't, because I would love to see what some of his ideas would have looked like in the history books. But all we have is just the words that we have reported from other people, and I just, while I don't believe that they're falsehoods, I wish it came from the horse's mouth, right? And I'm gonna be honest. I wish John F. Kennedy lived long enough for me to grow up, to be old enough to be able to ask him what it was like to be a president of the United States, because I absolutely would have gone up to that man, tapped him on the shoulder, even if he was in a wheelchair, and said, "Hey, mister, I know you used to be the U.S. president. What was that like?"
I'd like to know too.
Because it's a good question. Like, it's something I think every kid at like the age of 10, 11, or 12, they see the president for, maybe it's the first time they've noticed him, because in this day and age we're so consumed with our technology and stuff that we just, like, the screens are right in our faces all the time. I feel like that Book of Revelations movie where, like, and it wasn't one, I don't think it was one of the Left Behind movies, but like, they were using VR to brainwash people. And like, I feel like the VR headset is the blinders kind of thing, you know?
I think I know which
which movie you're talking
Um,
about.
Yeah, I don't remember what movie it is. It's something about a cop Christian who's trying to survive, and
Okay, then I don't know.
yeah,
what you're
I don't
talking
remember the
about.
movie. I'd have to go look it up. It doesn't end well. Like, people die at the end of that movie via guillotine. It's just not really a pleasant watch.
Well, with what you were saying, it kind of reminded me of the movie Valerian.
But anyway, it's just like, I feel like we're so sucked into that social media sphere that, like, we can't get, like, I hate to use the friggin' malt shop diner example, because a lot of people like to point out that there's some really racist stuff that happens surrounding those, like, you aren't welcome here kind of thing. But, like, why can't we have that kind of mentality, but with, like, everybody in the country, right? Not just the white folks, not just the black folks, but everybody.
Everyone who lives here legally is an American.
Yes. And we need to start treating each other that way. And I know there's some bad actors out there. There's quite a few of them. But I feel like the social media is just like pumping out the bad actors like a fucking factory these days, man. I really do. I know it's not directly their fault, but like, I feel like we're so dependent on our technology for being social with each other, for going out and doing stuff. And I'm not talking about people like you and I, babe. You and I use technology. We develop video. We're in the process of developing a video game and writing a book.
I have a book on Wattpad.
Like,
It's also on Web Novel.
and
but,
sure,
I mean-
I've spent a lot of time on YouTube today making videos, and I've spent quite a bit of time on Twitter rebutting some divisionary logic and stuff from Christians who really need to learn what it means to be a fisher of men. And the fact that the RNC is not a church organization, it is a political organization. There is a difference, and yes, you can have Christian values in an organization like that, but look, the Supreme Court destroyed Roe v. Wade. Take the win and leave it at that. It's now a state-to-state issue. Let the states decide. It is the best thing you can do because it's the constitutional thing to do. The 10th Amendment exists for a reason. That's all the Supreme Court did. And you wackos on the left, you say, they destroyed Roe v. Wade. They're going to go and wreck abortion, yada yada. You're stupid. Alright, you're stupid. The only thing that they did was turned it back over to the states and said decide for yourselves, which is what the federal government's supposed to do on a lot of stuff that they don't do. Like, straight up, they don't. They like to be in charge of everything. It was a refreshing pace to see the federal government actually hand the power back to the state governments where it's actually supposed to belong. Like, that legit, straight up, that is where that power belongs. That decision. That way your governor, your legislature, and your local doctors can say, okay, we can sit down and have a discussion about maybe putting a limit on abortion, or maybe not. Is there there is a ladder on that water tower, and there is a walk around on it, so yes. Man, I hope they had someone up there.
There's also a secondary ladder leading up to the very top.
I really hope they had someone up there watching that, or at least someone watching that ladder the whole time this was going on.
Yeah. This is either another ladder or a pipe that someone could use to climb to the very top.
Man, this is a nightmare. This whole situation is a nightmare. Our society is a nightmare. Our reliance on technology is a nightmare. And I really think that we need to call for, like, you don't even have to call for unity. Just like a call for some civil decency, you know? Like, alright, Jack Black might not be the most, like, conservative of individuals. He definitely is not a conservative individual, but, like, I guarantee you if I sat him down with a cup of coffee and said, hey, look, man, I get it, we're from two different opposing political factions, but whatever this rhetoric is, has got to stop. Calling Trump basically Hitler is not okay, because when you call someone Hitler, even as a conservative, I want to lock and load. I don't like Hitler. I can't stand him. He is responsible for the death of friends of my family from years ago that I could have grown up with and potentially raised a family with had this whole thing not been, like, there is a timeline somewhere in the multiverse. I almost said omniverse. Fucking Ben 10 at it again. Multiverse. There is a version of the multiverse where World War II never fucking happened. My family members and neighbors or the neighbors of my great-grandparents never went to war, never died in that war, and I could be married to, like, and my fiance's hearing this sounds terrible, but it's reality. It's not reality, but it's a possibility that's passed by, that's been stripped away from not just me, but everyone else who's a descendant of someone who was in that fight. Like, World War II was no game, no joke. People died.
There's even a fence around the water
Oh, so there's a
tower.
fence around the
Yep,
water tower.
with the barbed wire that tilts outward like that.
Alright, well, let me finish making my points here, and we can talk about this again off stream, so that way I'm not running this past the 60 minutes that far, like I didn't really want to in the first place.
Yeah, I just thought
I kind of want to get back to
Let you
watching
know.
Dr. Stone and maybe making dinner, because we haven't even eaten yet.
I'm finally getting my appetite back. I lost it earlier.
Wow, this has borderline me on losing mine, but, like, back to my points. We need to stop sidetracking on these videos, because it's just not really helping that much.
Sorry about that.
We need to get back to a form of civil discourse. And you wackos on the far left who don't think that civil discourse is the way, and you think that violence is the way. Okay. Hey. I can't threaten you because it's against YouTube's guidelines and policies. I wouldn't do it because, to be honest with you, I think it's immoral and reprehensible. But on that note, you people need to stop trying to wish violence on people that you don't even fucking know. What one of you ever sat down with Donald Trump to figure out he was a Nazi? You're saying he's a Nazi because it's what the media and your presidential candidate / current president told you to say that. It's what they told you he was. You don't know his history. You don't know a damn thing about him. You're marching on marching orders and on autopilot, and you handed someone else the controls to the plane. That's why we on the right, we don't like you. Because you can't think critically for yourselves. You're told a thing by the news media, and you march with it.
And they act like sheep.
That's what a sheep is. That's what the modern definition in slang terms of a sheep is someone who marches along to the drum without asking why they're there, and is the guy that we're marching against that bad. It's called critical thinking skills. Y'all need to develop it someday. Like, I have critical thinking skills to know for a fact that Biden's done some corrupt crap. He's evil, as far as I'm concerned. And, his age and economic policies are absolutely a problem for this country. It's an issue. He's not an existential threat, and he's not the reincarnation of Genghis Khan or Adolf Hitler or or Osama bin Laden or any of that stuff. He's not that bad. He's just bad enough to where I don't friggin' want it. I want Trump because I want my gas prices down and food on my table, It's not that hard. Trump is the one who had the good economy. Biden's economy sucked. You could try to pitch a fit about the statistics and say, oh, but the numbers say otherwise. Yeah, well, those numbers were altered the second Biden took office because you made things that were previously a part of the inflationary values no longer a part of the inflationary values. Look it up. It's a part of the Fed. They have it in their federal history recorded when they did it. But back to my main point, it goes back to civility, man. We can argue policy. Sure. We can discuss personal failings of a president. Okay, why not? But we don't need to be demonizing people and calling them literally Hitler. Come on. That's disgusting. I shouldn't use this word, but I'm going to take one from J.D. DeLay. I wouldn't even call a chomo Adolf Hitler. I'd probably take him out back and beat the hell out of him, but I wouldn't kill him personally because it's not worth the fucking headache. But, like, I wouldn't call them Adolf Hitler. You're calling someone a literal, visceral threat when you call them Hitler. That's what enters the mind of people my age and older. Could you imagine what it does to a kid fresh out of school who just got done learning about World War II? That's why we got people on the right saying you guys are doing this on purpose. Because you want someone to go nuts and do what happened Saturday, but have it actually happen for real. Not get prevented or stopped. I mean, if that's what you guys want, you're wrong in the head. You need to seek help and you need to go out and find God. A God of some kind. And pray. Pray for your soul or whatever you have left of one. Because at this point, just the sheer fact that you had that thought in your mind has me, a child of God, questioning whether God gave you a soul or whether Satan just put you here to be a detriment to the rest of the planet. And I did say planet on purpose. I did not intend to say human race. I said planet. I may have hesitated a little bit on that one, but I said planet, thought about it, and I was like, yeah, no, that fits. Wishing this kind of violence on people is not normal. It is not normal human behavior. You people are disgusting. But there's a way out of it. There is a redemption for you. You have to get better. You have to get help. Stop viewing a political pundit, a political nominee, or a president as like your enemy. Like, literally, alright, you want to know what my standard is? I will tell you what my standard is before I turn full militia mode, right? Like, and I'll be straight up, right? Someone actually breaks the Constitution, gets up on live TV, and rips it from the top to the bottom. And I don't mean metaphorically, I mean literally does that. Declares martial law, says that they are our God and leader, and we have to accept them. That's militia mode material. A guy getting up on the stage and saying he's got policy ideas and, you know, immigrants and lower taxes and God, what are some of Trump's other points? I know about the border, I know about that. Oh, no new wars and yada yada yada. I mean, okay, argue those policies. Maybe insult him along the way, but don't insult him in such a way that could be used as a rally cry by a psychopath for violence, right? Like, I call Biden a feeble old man. Okay, well, he's a freaking... He's old! Which brings me to my next point. Like, you guys are the ones who put him in the presidency, not us. We didn't vote for him. That was on you, okay? The fact that he fumbles at words, he can't really debate that well. He walks like friggin' one of the Beavis and Butthead sketches for the Great Cornholio when he's walking with his arms like, whoa, you know, sometimes. I just, you know, yeah, I mock him, I make fun of him. I don't wish harm upon him or his family, though. Right? Like, even when it came to Hunter Biden and all the gross, disgusting things he's done, I don't wish physical harm or death upon him. There's only one group that I even consider subhuman enough to consider thinking that way, and that's a chomo, man. And to those of you who say, Trump is a chomo, blah, blah, prove it. Unedited video evidence that gets submitted through a court that proves it. Prove it. And you know what? To those on the right that say Ashley Biden's diary, that's on you guys, because unless you guys took photographic evidence of that freaking diary, like, sorry. I kind of got a cock and eyebrow a little bit. But, you know, at the same time, I do also know that James O'Keefe is a pretty alright dude. I know that he probably wouldn't lie about something like that, but, like, it's definitely one of the harder pills to swallow that a current sitting U.S. president may have done the things that were detailed in that diary according to what was reported. But anyway, this video's run on to about 70 minutes long. I hope everyone starts to recover from their TDS and BDS and political just like vitriol towards each other, because like I literally just got off of Twitter and I had a conservative in a video outright say that people on the left want conservatives outright dead. And there is video proof to prove that there are some out there who do. But why can't we go back to where a Democrat and a Republican, an independent, and where this stuff didn't matter? What does it take to go back to that? That's my big question. And my big question for the Secret Service is, could you explain this map to me, please? Like, I mean, there's obviously probably security risks that I missed, and, you know, there's probably more locations that probably required almost constant surveillance I could have missed, but, like, I really, really, really would love, like, a real... When they're done clearing out the crime scene, Dan Bongino, I would love it if you go out there, and I'm probably butchering your last name, sorry, man. I'd love to see you and a camera crew and one of the Secret Service agents that was on that day go through this stuff from top to bottom, just like you would an archaeological dig that you're recording, like, say, okay, this is where this was, you know, just play it all out, like, show us via camera what they say happened so we can go over it and do like a full-on documentary, right? Because, like, you guys need to make it make sense for us. We're civilians. And even some of us that were in the military that are around my age that maybe never worked threat prevention detail or high-value target detail, they might not know what this stuff is. Like, they don't know what... They might know what Overwatch is, but they might not know to be like, oh, hey, you know, there could be a threat against our target from this location because it's a high-trafficked area. Well, they might not know it's a high-trafficked area. We don't live there. Which is why I'd love to also have, like, the chief of police there to be like, okay, these were the high-trafficked areas on that day. You know, go over it via video camera. Bring out the whole shooting match. Poor choice of words. Bring out the whole camera crew from, like, National Geographic or something, right? Don't hide anything. Show it to us. Show us what happened. Yes, we have the video of the shots being taken and him climbing up on the roof and stuff. But, like, show us the other stuff that we didn't see. Maybe detail off the rest of that stuff. It's, like, the most important event of the year, and I'd actually almost argue since we killed Osama bin Laden, basically. We almost had a president assassinated over this last weekend. Like, we want details. Like, and you don't have to be, like, perfect cinematic value even. Just, like, give us a thing. I mean, I live in Maine. Butler, Pennsylvania is, what, a day's drive? Like $200 in gas, maybe? $3? I don't know if I could pull that off. I certainly couldn't do it with a vehicle I'm borrowing. I'd actually probably have to either catch a bus ticket with a camera and just kind of go over it, but, like, I'd also like to get permission in advance to do this stuff. But I don't want political bias in this investigation either way. I don't want to cover up from DHS or the Secret Service or the FBI. I just want the facts, right? Conversely, I don't want people on the right saying there's a conspiracy. I want the truth. That's what I want from the situation. And I don't want some leftist saying it was Trump's rhetoric that got him shot at. That's not okay. That's not even remotely what happened. Trump has never once... He's called you guys a problem, a big problem in the past. He's said that, you know, the way that you guys talk is a problem for American society that we need to address. But I've never once, and I've heard more than my fair share of Trump speeches. You're talking about a MAGA Republican guy, or what you would call a MAGA Republican guy anyway. I don't think of myself that way. I think of myself as I follow conservative policy. And right now, he's kind of the best thing we got. Take it or leave it, take it as you will. But, like, I kind of have an idea about what he said or what he didn't say. I have a feeling that there was a lot of calling Joe Biden the worst president in U.S. history. That was a thing. Never did he call him Hitler. Never did he call him worse than Hitler. You can't say that he did that. That's you guys doing that to Trump. But anyway, I hope everyone starts to return to a form of normalcy, because, like, we need to reconcile this stuff and quick. Russia's at the door, China's at the door, and they ain't coming over for Christmas dinner. Alright? Like, we're on the verge of World War III. We don't need to be on the verge of being at each other's throats over this stuff anymore. We need to focus on the issues that are actually really issues, not who the mouthpiece of the United States is. Sorry, President Trump. Sorry, President Biden, Obama, and Bush, because I think Bush Jr. is still alive, and Clinton too. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how I view you guys, as a mouthpiece. You're a mouthpiece who signs bills. Sorry. It's disrespectful to the position, I understand that, but, like, I'm not going to say a monkey with a typewriter could do the job, but I will say it's a high-stress job, and there are a lot of threats being thrown around because you're the leader of the United States of America, and our military and our CIA, which is our Central Intelligence Agency, which is our foreign intelligence asset agency, basically. They're supposed to be exclusively working outside of the boundaries of the United States. Whether that's true or not, whether they do or not, we could have that discussion, and it'd be another 2 or 3 hours worth of video. But, like, I want to do it with the actual head of the CIA and the president sitting in the room giving him the approval as far as, like, what could be declassified and what couldn't, and, like, sit there and bring up all these conspiracy theories just to put them to bed once and for all. And, like, some people from the other side of the opposite end of the aisle who are just sitting there like, yeah, I don't believe you, and then you can sit there and say, alright, here's the evidence, kind of thing, I want the truth. I don't want political gamesmanship on this stuff. When it comes to, like, who has the better policy, that's what I care about. You want me to vote for Biden? Fine. Secure the border, lower taxes, remove some regulations, start bringing business back into the U.S. These are things that will have people like me voting for Biden. I don't have a skin in the pro-Trump game. I have a skin in the good policies game. And I tell everyone the same thing. Yeah, I think Biden is a lying, scheming turd. But if he's got good policies, he can lie and scheme all he wants. If he signs what I think are good bills that lower my taxes, don't infringe upon my natural rights, don't tell me I can or can't, what gun I can and can't own. And I mean that is in small arms, which, by the way, does include the AR-15 and goes all the way up to the .50 cal by the American definition of small arms. Within that bracket, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the brain rot. Just don't cause more of this disgustingness here on my computer, that I have to see someone who works with Jack Black, who, by the way, I friggin' love Kung Fu Panda, man. My daughter watches that stuff. I loved that first movie. it does kind of, in my mind, it kind of suffers from a little bit of sequel and otherwise fatigue as you move on through the series. But I love that movie. It's animated. I know it's a kid's movie, but it's a good friggin' movie. It is. And one of the actors in it is Jack Black. Well, one of his friends, Tenacious D, said something sideways, trying to be edgy. I get it. Apologies can be said, this stuff can be taken back, but when we get to a point that the vitriol has gotten so bad that it is considered edgy or popular or whatever you want to use a word for it, to say something like, when someone asks you to make a wish, to turn around and say, next time, don't miss Trump, that's not, it's not okay that we're at that point, is what I'm trying to say. And the rhetoric of calling Trump a Nazi got us there. The rhetoric of saying he's an existential threat got us there. Yeah, you'll have to forgive the puppy dog. He senses my emotion in my voice and the fact that my throat's getting dry and I'm hungry as hell. I gotta get off this, go get something to eat. I can't do the Asman thing where I get up and walk away from this, because if I do that, it messes with my camera angle, because my screens and stuff are actually attached to my chair. Someday I'll post a picture of my setup on YouTube and see if Linus will roast my shit. But yeah, Linus Tech Tips, pretty good tech channel. I like watching his stuff. I think he's entertaining. My family thinks he's droll and boring and doesn't understand what he's saying half the time, but I have a pretty solid grasp on it, and I like his stuff. A shout out to him. And a shout out to another channel. I know this video's droned on, but Matt, I'm gonna butcher your name. Carricker, I think. I probably butchered his name. From Demolition Ranch. Man, again, I hope you don't stop doing content. I love your content. The free from politics gun content that you guys do at Demo Ranch keeps me sane, man. You have no idea. And I don't necessarily think that Scott is really political either, so I could throw him into the grouping of that, but you're kind of the one who's going through it, man. Shout out to Scott, give him love and prayers, because it's rough, man. It is rough when you have someone commit a crime and it was with, your shirt, and you have a public presence like that, and and you turn around and you look at a news article and it says a far-right militia, blah, 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 and you're like, I'm not even a political YouTube channel. I understand, man. I love your stuff. My whole family loves your stuff. I'm subscribed. I'm pretty sure my fiance's subscribed to Demo Ranch.
I think I am.
I mean, if my grandmother knew how to use YouTube, I'm sure she would subscribe to it. We find you legit, straight up entertaining, and we straight up want to see more of your stuff, man. Keep up the good work. And yes, I will be checking out your other YouTube channels. I'll go back and I'll find that apology video, or that, not really the apology video, but the very solemn and squared up video that you did about the current events, and I intend to go look up your other channels, man. I think it's great. I think you do great work. The only one that I know of is, I think you call it Off the Ranch. I don't think I'm subbed to that one, but definitely, man. Definitely. I'll go around, heck, send me a business card. I'll have copies made and hand it out to my neighbors and say, hey, this guy does good stuff on YouTube. You might like it. That's how much I like your stuff. That's how much I think people like you that do non-political content are necessary in this day and age. Don't stop being you, man. Keep on keeping on. And to the rest of you, get better at being human beings, please. We can't keep this strife up. People are getting caught in the crosswinds of political conflicts that don't even want to be there. We just want to go vote in November for the policies that we want. We don't want to scream and argue at people. I'll make another video tomorrow, probably concerning some of the stuff I've had to deal with in the RNC camps and stuff, but I think as far as politics goes, my voice is starting to mess up, and I'm starting to sound kind of like a younger version of RFK Jr. right now. I'm getting that, and I understand where he sounds like that now. Like, I legitimately could probably drink water for like 5 minutes straight and probably still have this problem. It would probably make it worse, but anyway, I'm gonna get off of here. It's been an hour and a half. I don't really like doing these long form videos by myself. I wish I had more guests than just me and my fiance and my puppy dog. But, you know, it's not slamming my fiance or our puppy dog. It's just,
I'm not a very good co-host.
well, you're not used to doing videos yet. I'm not even used to it. If I was used to it, I wouldn't have droned on for an hour and a half to whatever poor sucker decides to watch this for an hour and a half. Oh, man. I don't think I'd do it. I mean, I do it for Tim Pool, but that's because he covers diverse topics and usually stays pretty on topic. Me, I drone on for an hour and a half and I drive people nuts. Anyway, I hope y'all start to have some better nights ahead. Have a good night tonight. I'm getting off of here now. I know I've said that like 3 times, but this is me signing off. And I sure hope everyone had a nice day.